Welcome back to the show. It is Thursday Night Pint. We're going to be previewing next Leicester versus Liverpool Monday Night Football. I am still joined by Chloe Bloxham, by Chris Pajak. We've got Bloodstro and we've got Bizzo Bond as well in the studio. But we had a super chat about you boys. The Ram stand says, big up my boys, Stro and Bizzo on Redmen, Zabby W. And then this, I don't know what most of that means, but...
Who was that?
It's clearly love.
Who was that? I have no idea.
Whoever he is.
Zabby W.
Big ups, bro.
Yeah, big up.
Yeah, that's right. Right, let's preview the game then, shall we? Chloe? Leicester. Not Leicester. Liverpool. Not Leicester. Don't not win against Leicester.
Yeah. If I've learned anything this season, it's to really not get my hopes up, because I just do not know what's coming. Liverpool have got a run starting, but if things from this season haunt us, and hopefully that's not the case, then Liverpool can struggle against Leicester. But they're in a dire situation. We need 3 points, and you know what? The sets of fans do my head in. So if they went down, I really wouldn't be that bothered. Take Jamie Vardy, would you? So yeah, it's one of them.
And his wife.
Yeah, and his wife. We need to be careful. We need to be fully focused, because they'll want a reaction, because they got battered by Fulham. And their fans booed them. Their fans started, the whole Everton thing, saying you're not fit to wear the shirt. So I'm assuming there's going to be some reaction. Liverpool just need to be as hungrier, because we're going for a potential top 4.
I really thought they would have dragged themselves out of it by now, Chris. They brought Vardy back in, and obviously he's old and done, really, isn't he? But he's bagged a couple of goals. They've got like half
scores against us as well.
He does every single time. Harvey Barnes is in good form. They've still got Madison. They have got good players there. I'm amazed at how they didn't beat Everton. But when I watched that game, that was meant to be the relegation decider, and all it showed was why both of those teams are scrapping for relegation.
Yeah, it's tough, and as Chloe says, Liverpool have to be careful, don't they? I mean, Monday night game. It's at Leicester. I'm with you, Chloe. I hate their fans. The clackers they've got, and fucking all that shit that they have to bring to the party. They put a drum in right next to the away end, and they bang the drum as well, so you can't keep a tune in the away end. It's just not a nice place to go to. Leicester generally, and then the football club. So I despise it, to be honest with you. I've been that way quite a few times, and I hate it every single time I've gone. There's no parking anywhere near the ground. They're just shit, really, aren't they? And
all of that. So they just, it needs to be none of our business. And at this point, we could get into the whole, well, Everton did us a favour against Brighton, we could do Everton a favour against Leicester, whatever. Like, if that's a knock-on effect, who gives a shit? Ultimately, Liverpool just need to win this football match. The relegation fight is nothing to do with us. Let's make sure that it stays nothing to do with us.
I mean, it's going to be tough, because for whatever reason, Leicester are on Monday Night Football for the 15th time this season.
Genuinely.
And it's like, if we win, this won't be the game that relegates them, but it's practically nailing the coffin. So they're going to come out, backs against the wall, they're just going to come out swinging. They have to get a result. We need to be street smart in this game specifically, and we just need to make sure that early on we give them no chances, and then we just let our quality shine through. Trent's in unbelievable form. And we just need to put the game to bed as quickly as possible. But it's, like Chloe said, I've just not got my hopes up much this season. And I'm just hoping that not getting my hopes up again will carry us through to a victory.
Chloe mentioned it before, Biz, the fact that we play last. So we don't have that opportunity like last weekend to get the points on the board and have them stew on it. But there is actually, it can kind of work both ways. If they get the points on the board, then fine. But there is something to, no matter what happens, everyone involved in that, the Newcastle players, the United players, and the Brighton players, are probably going to be watching that game on Monday night. And we've done this to City for years. That's when we just need to go and put a performance in. Yeah, and that, you can add the stress no matter what else they've done.
You've seen Callum Wilson come out in an interview, and I was reading it before, and he was saying that I thought Liverpool were done, and I could smell Champions League football. Liverpool need to relax. The smell of Champions League's gone now, and I'm nervous, is what he said. So if he's coming out and openly saying that, it's going to be... We did this a couple of seasons ago where we were well out of it, Alisson's header, and then we beat United at Old Trafford, and then somehow we scraped top 4. Did it final game of the season when I think Middlesbrough 4-0, Wijnaldum scores that screamer, and we scraped top 4 then. And I don't want to get my hopes up. I just feel like if there's any team that would scrape top 4 from the position that we're in, it would be us. And I just feel like if there is a team that might slip up, I do think it would be Newcastle.
I think both of them are vulnerable. I think United are equally as vulnerable as Newcastle at the moment. I think it does benefit us to an extent playing last, because teams know what we're capable of, and if we do win, we're still just right on the heels. And it also should provide that extra motivation for us to ensure a win as well. Because if the results went our way on Saturday and we were to draw or lose the game, then I mean, there's all those different variables. I think we just need to obviously focus on beating them.
I think there's that thing. We've been in that situation before, haven't we? And I would bank on our team, hopefully. And look, hopefully it's not the team that played the first 3 quarters of the season. It's the team that's finishing it, or the team that's played countless years of brilliance before it. But being able to play in that environment, I would trust us playing last to go and get the win more than I would maybe trust the United team or the Newcastle team.
I'm not impressed with Leicester at all at the moment either. I think they're playing horrible football. So I'd like to be confident that we get a result against them for sure. We tend to do well away from home against them as well.
Well, we've had it. You say that, but you know we went there for the Charity Shield already this season. We're going to picked up the big 50p, the big plate up at the start of the season. Won some silverware this year already, lads. Don't forget that.
Stroll's behind the goal.
Yeah. So we know.
Honestly, your material is terrible.
So look, we have been there and won already this season. And to the point, we actually have. We've had a pretty good record against Leicester by and large in recent years.
We have. We didn't score against them at Anfield earlier on in the season. Wout Faes had to come up and score 2 for us. If there's anything, the thing that worries me is Liverpool conceded 2 to Nottingham Forest. We conceded 3 to Spurs. You know, we've had games where we've had to outscore teams, and Leicester still have goals in their side. They still have ways to exploit us, running off the shoulder in behind. And the other thing is, I know you mentioned, you know, playing last might actually help us, but if someone drops points, there's even more pressure on you because you've got to capitalise. You might as well play first when you're all on the same level. Where if they drop points or if you can just mentally switch off.
But you don't get to pick what order the fixtures.
Yeah, you don't. You've still got to win.
To stand up to that pressure.
I get it, but it is a case of.
Stop being such a shithouse, Chloe.
I'm not saying we won't win a game.
Liverpool are miles better than Leicester.
Yeah,
Leicester
literally.
are fucking shit.
But I thought
And
we were
they're
miles
down.
better than a lot of teams this season.
No, it's true. But like since we've started playing well, no one's beaten us.
Yeah, like you said, we're outscoring teams. We are conceding a number of goals, but we're outscoring teams. The goals are back, which is what we were missing. We were desperate for goals at the first half of the season. Got big key players coming back into the team. Yeah.
Can I say something that's going to make? Well. Yeah. Can I say something that's going to make Chloe feel worse about this?
Oh,
Who's in charge for them?
Dean Smith.
Yeah. Twice beaten a Liverpool side by 5 goals. Can you name the games?
Aston Villa.
Norwich.
Aston Villa. They're both Aston Villa. He definitely didn't beat us for Norwich, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we'd stick up 5 against them.
Aston Villa 7.
Oh, wait,
Liverpool 2.
Was that
the other one when we were in Qatar?
The other one was
you
were at that game, Chris. It was the League Cup 5th round where Dean Smith's Aston Villa side beat up our children.
Go with you. I went with you. Oh, right, okay, sounds
Beat up our children.
He beat up our kids. Absolutely shocking display of child abuse at Villa Park.
I had a good time at that game apart from the loss. Like the atmosphere was quite good.
Yeah. Yeah, then I remembered that like Ross and Tom were in Qatar and we were in Birmingham.
Was Neil Critchley in charge?
Yeah, Neil Critchley was in charge for that one. Harvey Elliott's Tricky Reds. He was 16 and basically acting like Gerrard, like G in the crowd up and stuff. It's brilliant.
At a corner.
I reckon we can win, and you know I'm really actually excited to watch Liverpool kick a football about.
Yeah.
The only thing is that we've been here before. The seasons where we've lost out on a point here and there, we've had too many draws. We've not capitalised when Manchester City dropped points on the weekend. I know it's not the same type of pressure. These were near 100-point wins, but I look at Manchester United fixtures and I think dead game, dead game, dead game, dead game. Newcastle's the one where I think, wow, they've got 3 really tough games there.
Come into our favour a little bit. Yeah, we have to obviously play behind the other teams this time around, but like when you've got your Chelsea Man United game midweek and stuff like that, obviously it swings and roundabouts.
Brighton, Newcastle as well.
So for me, if I was going to pick one team to play late against, I would probably pick Leicester.
Yeah, I'd say just in terms of those fixtures that we mentioned. I mean, the Villa and Tottenham. Do we care about Villa Tottenham in this anymore? Is that are we concerned about that? Is that all done and dusted at this point? Probably. Leeds Newcastle Arsenal kick-off is one. You know, if
that's a big game. That.
Yeah.
That's one that I'd watch. I'm watching with intrigue, definitely.
Because it's Big Sam, because it's Ellen Road, and Ellen Road can be hostile, especially when they're fighting for the survival in the Premier League. That's a tough game for Newcastle. That
I feel like that's the sort of the game that's Sam Allardyce would get you G'd up for.
That's a Sam Allardyce game in context. That's what he's made for, is those kind of games.
Leeds have been getting absolutely battered at him and away. But the fact... sorry about that, Leeds. But Sam's first game was Manchester City. You're not expected to win that anyway. You're not expected to win Newcastle, but you're at home. I know, it's true. Sorry about that. Head-to-head with Pep Guardiola there. This is a game that, on paper, they probably shouldn't win, but they need to get something out of it. It's not a case of, it's Newcastle, look at where they are. They're running out of games. And that being Sam Allardyce's first home game, hopefully they can do something for us. And for themselves.
Wolves are playing Man United at 3 o'clock, and for what it's worth, they're in as good a run of recent form as Manchester United. In fact, they've won more games in the last 5 than United have. United have only won 2, drawn 1, and lost 2 in the last 5. Wolves...
I think the Bournemouth game's hard for United.
Bournemouth away.
They just lost to Chelsea.
Yeah. Someone had to beat them eventually.
They're still in there, though, aren't they? Still down there.
No, they're not.
Aren't they? They're safe now.
They're
not mathematical.
Wolves at home or away?
It's at Old Trafford. Right, look, let's tell you what, let's not focus too much on these. I think you're right. I think the Leeds Newcastle one is the one that draws the eye. It's 12:30 kick-off. It's Sam Allardyce. It's at Ellen Road, all that kind of stuff. The Wolves one is the one that I think I will not be paying attention to because we'll be occupied.
Yeah, that's the one where something might happen.
And you just get you check the fixtures and Wolves are winning 1-0
Is there any
with
good
5 minutes to go.
3 p.m. kickoffs aside from that I will legally watch somewhere?
In terms of the other 3 p.m s, Southampton Fulham, no. Chelsea Forest could have a deciding tell on the relegation battle.
I mean, if the season went on a couple more months, that'd be a relegation battle.
Villa Tottenham in terms of scrapping out for the remaining European places is definitely an interesting one. Villa at home.
Yeah.
United Wolves, Palace Bournemouth. And on Sunday, Everton City. Dear God, Everton has so much trouble. Brentford West Ham.
I think Everton might have enough points right now to stay up.
Genuinely.
That's how bad everybody else is.
Arsenal, Brighton, well in bed. Right, sad. Okay, let's talk about Liverpool then. They had a little break. Chris, the players went to Barcelona for a few days. It was an interesting move from the manager, to be honest. They've had this quite intense sort of schedule. I wonder whether it's a team.
It's just taking the pressure off. It's taking the eyes of everybody off them, isn't it? And making sure that they're comfortable in themselves. I'm not sure it's a great plan because whenever we've gone to do these like mad mid-season trips, so I know they're more training trips, those ones and stuff. And
this looked like a sit by a pool and suntan.
It did, but like also like they're not that good at the new system, are they? You know, there's definitely work to do.
Who's doing it in the pool?
Like Chenko, whatever, but. So I think it's really strange. So I'm interested to see what happens here because I can see this one going both ways, to be honest with you. Because you lose against Leicester and it's because you've taken your players away.
It'll all come back and haunt you, That'll definitely come back and haunt you.
Yeah. In terms of the team then, Biz, what do you reckon? Gakpo played midfield last time. Would you be doing that again or would you put him back?
No, I think we'd play a bit safer, I think. I think you might drop Núñez again. Play what we've been playing recently. Gakpo, number 9. Diaz, Salah. I think that's what you'll go with because, like you said, like they're quick on the counter attack and I think teams will start putting a lot of pressure down their left side or right side with Trent's new position, and players like Harvey Barnes are quite dangerous in positions like that. So I think it would be silly to go over there and be too attacking. I think you've got to be very mindful of their players.
It feels like Darwin's had his go. And it's a big call from the manager if he does stick him in again, to be fair. You know, and it would be very Jurgen Klopp for us to be sitting here going, no, come on, he's had a couple of goes now, it hasn't quite worked out for him. It would be very Jurgen to go, no, go on, I back you, go out there and do it again. But it does mean Henderson should be fully fit for this one. You got the impression that him not being available and Thiago being out injured was one of the reasons why he did that at the weekend. So it is an interesting call whether he chooses to go with that or not.
Yeah, I think Henderson definitely comes in just for his leadership and just for the magnitude of the game and the running. We need the points. And the thing with Núñez is, look, has he hit the ground running? No. Has he shown some potential? 100%. Like, you look at his first season in Benfica to his first season with us, it's practically symmetrical. It's so similar, it's untrue. He doesn't understand English properly yet. I think now is the time to take him out the firing line. Gakpo's been phenomenal since he's come in. He's really took to that Bobby role, and I just think that front three is a lot more fluid than the front three he's tried in the past couple of weeks. The good thing about Gakpo is you can put him anywhere and he does a job. He's just that good. But Núñez needs to come out the firing line for me.
Núñez looks too raw, whereas Gakpo looks more of an established starter.
And polished.
Yeah, his first few games, Gakpo, everyone was like, umming and ahhing, is he going to be a good signing? But he's fit that role superbly that he's been put in, and it's not his natural role. Whereas Núñez just looks raw. He looks like tenacious and.
He's perfect to come off the bench, Captain Chaos. Just throw him on for the last 10 minutes.
Literally.
Yeah. I mean, there's that. Diaz and Jota's the other big question, isn't it, Chloe? And I mean, that's one of the reasons why you can afford to take Núñez off the firing line, is because no matter what, you're going to have one of Jota or Diaz to come on regardless. We've got 4 lads in good form for 3 places. Núñez, if you could get him up and running, which I think we've tried, you're laughing. You're beyond laughing. But I wonder whether it's a problem that he can afford to park now almost until the summer. Not to say he's bombed out, not to say he doesn't come off the bench in games, but we're at the point now where I think the lads are right. You go back. Gakpo feels like the one. Him and Salah now feel nailed on, and then you're making a call between Jota and Diaz who starts.
Everyone plays their part this season, and I think Klopp can look at Núñez and say, look, everyone thinks you're a flop, but you've got this amount of goals, you've influenced the game, you're just settling in, it's your first season. There's a lot of factors around Núñez and why he's not hit the ground running. He's also been bought at the same time that Erling Haaland's being bought into the Premier League, into the other top team in the Prem. So there's a load of factors where you can just say, I'm going to give you 15, 20 minutes here. Luis Diaz is still coming back from injury. I'll probably give Gakpo a rest 70 minutes in. He likes doing that. And you bring Núñez either on the left or up top, Jota on the left or up top. You've got the option to do that. So yeah, I'd take Núñez off, because if I'm being honest, he doesn't influence a game. And West Ham away, Cody Gakpo was the star of the show. Yeah. He held the ball up like Firmino. He really did. He took the sting out of the atmosphere. Although, I mean, it wasn't a great atmosphere by the West Ham fans anyway. But who do I want starting up top and holding the ball up against Leicester when they're in a relegation battle, which West Ham were at the time? Cody Gakpo, Darwin Núñez. He hasn't learned how to press as well in the system, and the way we counter press is what ultimately gets you in the starting 11 at this moment. I also bring Diaz back. He got a break the other day. Jota started, swapped them round again, and you keep telling the lads, look, be heroes, because this season has been absolutely woeful. But if we get top 4, my God, I will feel just as excited as I did last year going into next season, because I'll think new signings, look at the front 4, front 5, we're in top 4, we're in Champions League. You feel like you have gone and won something because it seems so far away. So if you just say to those lads that they've all got a part in the next 3 games, you'll all be used, but we need to win. We need to be straight at it from the off. I think they'll all understand.
Yeah, I think for me, I actually like Gakpo in the middle of the park as well. I agree. I think Gakpo's much better in the 9, as everybody said. I expect him to go back to Gakpo in the 9, but it wouldn't shock me if Jota started up front and Gakpo played in the mid still. you know, and Núñez was taking out the firing line that way.
Yeah.
I think
And then you've got
that's what he's
Diaz and
aiming for
Jota.
next season, mate. I think he's going to try and utilise 4 up front and play Gakpo more as a centre attacking midfielder.
That's it. It's felt like we'll do the Trent thing first, phase 1, phase 2. How do all these pieces I've got fit together? And he's looking at it all on the board, shuffling them around, going, right, okay, we'll give you a little round like that. Okay, that works. Okay.
He's already said, hasn't he, that he's changed all his training methods, and he was planning on doing it next season, but he said we might as well do it now because we're winning games again, so we might as well keep going.
One thing which was massively notable was Gakpo's work rate. Was when Trent was moving to the midfield, was obviously you've got that whole the right side exposed, Brentford's left hand side in, and Bueno kept going in there, but Gakpo was tracking him constantly. So it's the only reason why I suggested Henderson was because I think he's fit now, and I think he just naturally slipped.
There's also, is that Leicester fighting for their lives, and they'll do what we've got a bit of muscle memory from this of teams who will just focus on set pieces, and actually whether it's Henderson or Gakpo, you've got another big lad, and that actually might work to be a positive for the Núñez thing as well.
Núñez was important against Brentford, to be honest with you, because he is that little bit taller and stuff, isn't he?
Yeah, and maybe that'll be part of his thinking about keeping Gakpo in the midfield, and then you keep Núñez and you got Henderson then in reserve. You've got a ton of taller options in there.
The thing is the thing with Gakpo, and I'm saying this after he probably should have slotted 2 against Brentford, but if there's someone I want in and around the area to knit everything together, it's Cody Gakpo. He was brilliant on the right hand side of midfield, but he faded in and out because of how much work he had to do getting back for Trent and covering, because that's the system we play now. And to have that good of an attacker who knits everything together up top and creates the spaces for everyone else, to not have him, also having to track back where he can't express himself as much, I'd rather go back to the other way. But if I'd love to see
have Jota on the ball in the penalty area personally than Gakpo.
I think it's no coincidence that when Firmino was in the form of his life in 2018, 2019, with Mane and Salah around him playing that role, when we lost that either through decline or injury, we played significantly worse, and now we're playing significantly better because we've got a player in that role who's actually able to do it to a level that Firmino was doing it, in my opinion. And I think in a season or two, I think Gakpo will excel even better. And if he's missing, I think he's missing a couple more goals. Probably that's my only real criticism.
Gakpo's helped Núñez significantly. Him coming in and going into that
he's
role
helped everyone. He's helped
took,
Salah.
No, but I mean specifically, he's took Núñez out of the firing line in terms of Liverpool fans. Because if we'd have had Núñez for that run of games and he was as inconsistent as he's been, there'd be a lot more questions going into pre-season. Yeah. And I think Gakpo's helped massively.
I think there's a really interesting sort of the interesting conundrum he's got with those forward lads is, I think, if you want to play a false 9, then you need both you guys to be flyers either side, and Jota's not, but he does functionally do what Mane would do in terms of getting in the right positions to score the goals. Diaz is the flyer, but he's not a goal scorer. I don't think he's as much of a goal scorer.
He's not dynamic.
Exactly. So I think in theory he suits Gakpo better because he's got the pace to get in there, but I don't think that's necessarily totally naturally his game. I think he wants to be a provider. So I think he weirdly suits Darwin up front potentially more because he wants to be giving Darwin Núñez the ball, whereas Jota wants to be the guy, wants to be given the ball, wants to be the main man, wants to stick in the back of the net. So it's a slight odd fit. I don't think there's anything that's quite... I don't think we can truly... We haven't replaced.
I don't think we'll know until next season.
For me,
I think that's it. Ultimately, when the other pieces of the puzzle are brought in when the transfer window opens and stuff. Right now, I really do just believe he's looking at all of his options because he knows Gakpo's boss in the night. Everyone is. As soon as he came in through the door, everyone was probably thinking he's going to play on that left hand side. But really, Diaz, when he comes back, is he really going to play? So as soon as he put him in that 9, everyone was like, "Man, he's got absolutely everything." It looks like Firmino 2.0, exactly like you were saying then.
Klopp must have a plan in place because when all those signings, if you put them all on paper, when we actually sign them, I thought we've got so many left-sided forwards here. Like we've got too many. Like who are we going to sell? What's he going to do? Because Núñez played as a wide player for Benfica and scored a lot of goals there. Diaz obviously for Porto. Jota for Wolves was playing on the left and the right hand side. So I was like, where do these all fit in? But he is actually making it work.
Gakpo's so clever though, isn't he? You can tell just watching him. He just understands football. Like.
It's a shrewd bit of business.
That's exactly why I'd rather Jota in the box for a chance Like, I don't think anyone could score the goal he scored against Tottenham in the final minute. Like, I think that's Jota written all over it. But in terms of knitting play together, I don't think there's anyone like Gakpo. Jota's good at it. He can play with his back to goal. But
it's what you're getting out of the
offers is
midfield.
different.
And I think my sort of point here is I love Gakpo in the 9. I think he's been brilliant. In fact, I was saying it before he came in. I think he might play in the 9. Did deep dive shows on it and stuff. Totally understand what he brings to it, Chloe. But, like, what are you getting out of the midfield? My thing is, I don't think Jordan Henderson's very good at that role. And I think Gakpo's got the potential to be better. So is the difference between Gakpo and Henderson...
higher up in the 8.
Yeah. Is the difference between Gakpo and Henderson... Because I agree. I'd rather have Gakpo and Nick play together. But is the difference minimal between them two? And is the difference a little bit bigger between
You're thinking in terms of
Hendo and him?
midfielder, between the lines, picking the ball up from Trent, and then he's just got... Like you said, because he's such an intelligent footballer and he can knit so much together, is you put him on the right hand side. Yes, he's a bit wasted because of the work rate he's got to do back for Trent, but just on the half turn, receiving the ball, you trust Gakpo more than anyone in the team, barring Trent, to slip a ball down the side for Salah, for Jota in that position. This is what I mean, you can put him anywhere. He's just been that good, and that's another reason why you look at our transfer business for the past couple of years and you go, that's why Liverpool have been where they are, because of business like that.
I agree with all this. I just don't think we're seeing the full picture
We're not.
yet.
That's the whole point, isn't
I
it?
can't wait till we get midfielders in and then you get to see what he does with that.
Yeah,
that front foot.
every game we see, we're finding, we're asking questions and
yet
finding
the
new
thing
answers.
is, in all of these sorts of computations everyone's doing, I ain't got a place for Nunes.
No, that's the problem.
But
thing.
I think he must do. That's what I think. I think he's got to have in his head. He's got a front four with, like you said, Gakpo playing in centre attacking mid, and then he'll have a rotational front three of Nunes.
It's horses for courses. I think because I agree at the moment, and I said this the other week. He's a bit like in the Origi role at the moment, where he's not a natural fit, but if you put him in, he will score. He'll score. He's a goal scorer. He will score eventually for you. But I do wonder whether there are games where you want a more Henderson-like person in that 8, because they're games where you're playing a good side and you want someone who's a bit more game intelligent going back the other way. And you're gonna look to fight for it a bit more. Whereas games, and hopefully most of the games you're gonna play are gonna be against a bunch of teams who are just defending for their lives. And that's ones where you're gonna have 65% possession plus. You might as well have Cody Gakpo in the 8.
Harvey Elliott or someone like that.
Exactly. Okay, let's have some score predictions from you guys then. Away at, what's it called? The King Power Stadium. Filbert Street is what I was going to say. Do you remember Filbert Street?
I nearly said the Walkers.
Yeah, the Walkers. Bizzo, what do you think?
Chloe's going to hate me here. 3-1, I reckon.
I literally was thinking that.
All right, that's all right then.
So now she hates it because she wanted to say it.
That's all right, I'll change it.
I was thinking 3-1, but do you know what's a mad stat? Have you seen... So we've been defensively terrible this season. Alisson's on 13 clean sheets, 2 behind the here. Do you know how mad that is when I seen that today? I think it's 2-0. I think we'll keep a clean sheet.
I was going to say 2-0. Yeah, I'm with 2-0 as well.
I think we'll come out the gates flying personally. I think we'll try and get a goal in the first 4 or 5 minutes and then, yeah.
I wouldn't put a bet against another 1-0 here, where we just get the goal and just go, thanks, nice sound. But I would prefer,
off the bench.
Yeah, but I would infinitely prefer it too. I'm here for just some games of football. Let's have some routines. That being said, there is something to it. I think game state will depend on what happens in the other fixtures in the weekend, because you might just find we want to go and let the handbrake off. They've had a week off. They've recharged the batteries. They can go again. We've been running on fumes, I think, the last week or so, just trying to get through that little run of games. And now it's like there's 3 games left. There's 2 weeks of football, laughing. Let's just go and put a show on, and everyone's going to be watching Monday Night Football, Liverpool.
Especially if Leeds get a result against Newcastle.
We can go and batter them. Then all of a sudden we're the story. Liverpool are the team on the up, and everyone's quaking in the boots. I'll live for that. 5-0 Liverpool.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed the show. Did you know that if you become a Club Legend subscriber, that's a yearly Club Legend on redmenplus.com, we will send you 2 instant free merch codes to get yourself some decent clobber from Redmen merch. So it's a no-brainer. Go and do it.